This is a Hot Pie Media original.
If you thought the fight over the Eyes of Texas was going away, you're wrong. I guess we could say very wrong. This is next level stuff now. A civil rights complaint. Now, this was given legs, in my opinion, and there's a lot to this, but I think we're going to have to start at the ending point and then work our way through it. But I think this whole thing, no matter what you think or what you feel, this whole thing was given legs because of the release of emails to the University of Texas President Jay Hartzell. And those emails, a lot of them were public, and that's right that it should be public because it's a public university. Deal with it. But the thing was given legs and has been mentioned more than once because some of the emails seemingly coming from were coming from big money donors, probably older white big money donors who said, you get rid of the song, I'll keep my money. That's why I think the thing was given legs. Agree or disagree, right or wrong, that's why I think it was given legs. But imagine if you're Jay Hartzell, who's the University of Texas president. I've said this many times, and I know a lot about the campus, so I have skin in the game here. Very respected guy on campus, dean of the business school for a long time. Think about his first year on the job. He takes the job. COVID hits. He takes the job, fires the head coach. Now, first of all, you have to understand, when you are the president of the University of Texas, one of the most powerful and wealthiest schools on the planet, you are hearing it from every direction. Every direction. And that's the way it should be. That's your job. But think about his first year. COVID hits, pretty much shuts the place down, like everything else. He then fires the head coach, Tom Herman. I didn't necessarily agree with. Fires the head coach and then pays him off at a time in which you're living through COVID and there are cutbacks all over the place. Then is met head on with the complaints over the Eyes of Texas, then hires a new football coach and writes him a big check. Then, when he thinks he's come up with a plan to resolve the issues over the Eyes of Texas, he is now hit with the school is hit with, a civil rights complaint. So it's game on part 2. It's a tough gig anytime. You have to do a lot of butt kissing anytime. You really have to ride the fence on practically every issue anytime. But this past year it's been a dumpster fire of issues. So, all right, let's do this. I think the best way to tackle this again, because I'm not quite sure a lot of people from, quote, the outside haven't, it's national news again. The term woke is being used a lot again. But I think the best way to approach this is to start at the end and then sort of work our way back through. So I'm going to do that. I can handle this. We're going to start at the end, the ending question before we set all of the issues up. And there are plenty. And by the way, they're all legitimate. The ending question is this. What's the resolution? I mean, you're getting sued now. It's a civil rights complaint now. It's on multiple levels a civil rights complaint now. You're in week 1 of your football season now. What is the resolution? I mean, sooner or later, you got to have a resolution, correct? He and the Texas campus thought that it had a resolution. Think again. You do not. So what's the resolution? Do you say, deal with it? I hear you. I got it. No. Answer's no. We did it. We put together a committee. We said the song's going to stay. Deal with it. Move on. Is that the resolution? Are you ready to deal with the blowback from that? Is that the resolution? Or is the resolution going to be, you know what? You're right. Getting rid of the song. That's the resolution. Deal with the blowback. Move on. Or do you find a middle ground? I think that's where it's going to end up. And I think I have an idea what that might be. But you try to find a middle ground, and I don't know what that is. I mean, that's what you're faced with. For people that say Shut up, everyone. No, you shut up. Actually, you have a right to complain on your college campus. You have every right to do it. You have every right to be heard. Somebody has to resolve this sooner or later. So here we go again. First of all, I would say this. I like to always qualify this by pointing out that I'm a white guy from West Austin. All right. I'd also like to point out that I went to school there, have multiple degrees there, taught class there for a long time, even played a little football there. Not very well, but played some. So I feel like I've got skin in the game. And I think anyone that went to school, wherever you went to school, wherever your connection is to a school, you have every right to complain and have a say in that college campus. I think that is a great thing about college, is that is a time and a connection to a place, a formative time period, good and bad, crazy or not. It is a formative time period in your life. And I think college campuses should mean a lot to people. They really should. It is an important and formative time period for any one of us. Whether you're going to school now or you went to school there, you do have a right and you do have a connection to that place. If you work there, you have a connection to that place. And it is an amazing place. I'm proud of my school. And I'm proud of my school that's fighting over this issue because I think it's pretty cool. I think that's what you do on a college campus. Sooner or later, you have to find an ending point. Sooner or later, you have to say, I heard you. I hear you again. Here's the answer. But I do think the fights themselves are perfectly healthy and perfectly righteous. So when I read first thing in the morning or in the middle of the night, woke University of Texas, shut in the words of the famous Al Roker, screw off. It's not yours. If you went to school there or you go to school there now, it's yours. It is yours. And you have every right to fight about whatever goes on your campus. So anybody who wants to automatically dismiss anyone with an argument here, to quote the great Al Roker, screw off. Sorry. That said, it's a fight. It's a weird fight. It's a fight as a white kid from West Austin. I never heard when I went to school there. I never heard anybody complain, but people are complaining now, and they've taken it to the next level and said, your committee, University of Texas, your answer back is not sufficient. And when you created that separate band, which I found from the very beginning a silly idea, when you created that separate band, you made it another fight. I thought that was a weird idea. I'm not quite sure I've ever agreed with it. So we got a fight now. We got an interesting fight. There's my setup to all of this. In particular, there are certain phrases within the song that have set people off, and I kind of get it. It's hard when you're a white guy from West Austin to completely get it. But the point is, I get it. I get the point. What do you want to do about it? Get rid of it altogether, scratch parts of it, or just own it and move on. So here's the story in case you don't know. And if it feels silly to you, I think you're wrong about that. I really do. Hey, every guy can relate to this. You're tired of wearing those baggy cotton shirts that feel like you're wearing curtains. There's a difference. In fact, I'm wearing the difference. That is the ultra premium basics from goodlifeclothing.com. You'll love the shirts. I've been searching for a long time, like every guy, for the perfect lightweight shirt that looks good if you're in pretty good shape. It's at goodlifeclothing.com. Check them out. You'll see the difference for yourself. You'll feel the difference for yourself. It's the perfect shirt for this time of year in Austin, Texas. So, two things. Go to goodlifeclothing.com. You get a 20% discount if you enter the promo code JeffWard20. That's goodlifeclothing.com. Enter the promo code JeffWard20 or stop by their store domain Northside. You'll love the difference. You'll feel the difference. It's the perfect fit for a guy that's in good shape. It's goodlifeclothing.com, promo code JeffWard20, or stop by their brand new store at Domain Northside. A group of University of Texas students are suing the school for creating, quote, a hostile environment by forcing members of its marching band to play in a separate group because they refused to play the school's spirit song, The Eyes of Texas, at football games. Full disclosure, my answer to this was, you're not in the school band if you don't play the school song. And I kind of maintain that take. you can't be in the school band and not play the school song. That seems a little weird to me. So something's got to give. Either the school song has to change, or I think you're going to lose the fight. I mean, you don't like the song, so the school created a separate band to not play the school song, which I think was a mistake, and I think it's weird. You got to resolve the issue on the song. You can't keep creating a separate band. But now the fight is over the separate band, which I don't even know what they've done. I have no idea what that looks like. The Eyes of Texas was first sung in 1903 at a student-organized minstrel show, a popular form of entertainment in the early 20th century that featured white performers in blackface. The university stood by the song in a recent report affirming that it had, quote, no racist intent and that it remains our alma mater. J. Hartzell, the president of the school, gets together a committee. In fact, true to form of my alma mater, they paid some group to start a campaign, and I've seen the video kind of selling people on the idea that we've looked into this, we've heard everybody, it's now good to go. It felt and looked a little silly to me, but it was their way of saying, everybody, we've heard you, we've looked into it, let's do a group hug, kumbaya, we're going to move forward with it. It's staying. The gas was poured on that position by letters. Sorry, when it's a public school, these letters are outed. That's the way it goes. Seemingly older white people saying, I'm not giving you my money if you get rid of that song. So the fight goes on and on and on. The lawsuit with the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights on behalf of an anonymous group of students and the Texas chapter of the NAACP claims the university failed to respond to the harassment of black students who opposed the song. I've invited anybody and everybody on the show to make that argument. It's still dead. It still stands. Make that argument. Make it. Let's hear it. Because I don't know how that's true. That's a pretty serious claim. It may be true. So how is that true? In other words, by the song sticking around, at some level, your rights have been violated. Your voice has not been heard. I'd love to hear that argument because I don't know how that's true. They said they looked into it. You're not satisfied with what they've did. You're not satisfied with what they've come up with. What is a better resolution? Either you've got to say, I'm sorry, deal with it. This is not a place for you. The song is not for you, but it's staying. And then you've given a choice. Or you get what you want. What is that? In the song altogether? Don't know. At games last fall, members of the marching band refused to play, and then some players refused to sing it. Question there. Is that not good enough? There you go. Is that not good enough? Is your ability. Now, I think another problem is created. I don't know that it's been a problem yet. It hasn't. Usually when you win, there are very few problems. But I don't know yet. The new football coach, who's 1-0, Steve Sarkisian, said, and I wonder if part of the mandate when you get hired is, oh, by the way, your players are going to do the Eyes of Texas, and that's the way it's going to be. He made the comment early on, they're going to sing the Eyes of Texas. I don't know that I agree with that. I think you ought to give a player the room to say no. I don't know that it should be a prerequisite, but it sounds like it's a prerequisite. So that, as I predicted, was going to start another fight. Don't know if the fight is started with the players or not. Apparently not. So you're back to this starting point again. How would you like to resolve this? Now you're suing the school. It's next level. How do you resolve this? I think they've created some of their own problems. All right. The lawsuit alleges the school is violating the equal protection rights of students after it created a separate marching band for students who refused to play the song last fall. The irony there is they thought, I didn't think it was a good idea, they thought creating the separate band was creating an environment for students who didn't want to participate. Now the legal argument is, no, by making that a separate band, you violated our rights. And I don't know how that is. I'll keep saying it. I don't know how your rights have been violated. Make your case. Maybe it's true. So this thing is going to go, I don't know how far this goes. The lawsuit alleges violations of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits race discrimination in any program or activity at publicly funded schools, Act and of the 14th Amendment, which includes the Equal Protection Clause. Here is a student, UT's president of the school's NAACP says, quote, as black students, we kind of feel as if it's not like our voices are heard. Fair enough. Again, I want to be very clear. Everyone at a public school, everyone on their college campus should have a right and obligation to say what they want. Sooner or later, you have to resolve it. So, what do you tell this kid? Agreed, song's out. Disagreed, leave if you want. End in that separate band. I mean, you've got to resolve this sooner or later. Some wealthy donors threatened to stop giving money if the school didn't stand by the song. That's where the gas was poured. That's where the gas was poured. And I don't know that I blame this kid, because I probably would have been bothered too, because it looks as if, and we all know the truth here, it looks as if you have money, if you give money, your voice is more important than some kid sitting in accounting class. And unfortunately, that appears to be the truth. That's where I think they set people off. It wasn't UT's fault, because... And it's not necessarily the fault of the alumni, because if you give money, guess what? You have a right to have a voice too. Here's part of a letter that was sent. My wife and I have given an endowment in excess of $1 million to athletics. This could very well easily be rescinded if things don't drastically change around here. There were plenty of letters like that, and those went public. So what are you going to do? A report released in March, the committee was put together. That's what they do at the University of Texas. They spend a lot of money and they have a lot of committees. Committees on top of committees on top of committees. And notice what has happened now. A bunch of committees and you're still at the same point. In a report released in March, the committee found that the song debuted as a minstrel show, but was written with no racist intent, instead being meant to parody the famous phrases of the university president, William Prather, which is a terrible lecture hall with tiny little desks. So the committee said, okay, the Eyes of Texas mirrors the history of the United States. The University of Texas at Austin, as well as its band and sports teams. The complexity creates an opportunity for continued learning, sharing, and understanding. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, guess what? You better come up with a resolution. You're going to have to make some decisions, and you're going to have to meet the lawsuit head on. You're going to have to meet this kid head on. You're going to have to meet this separate band head on and make some decisions. You're going to keep it and say deal with it. You're going to have to say it's gone and deal with it, or you're going to have to scratch some phrases and deal with it. And I bet you that's where it ends up. And I'm not quite sure that's the wrong answer. I'm not quite sure. It's been said more than once, and I get this. I get that a white guy doesn't get this. It's been said more than once. Yeah. But that part of that song, Eyes Upon You, a lot of people know what that means. Fair enough. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? There's a professor on campus who said exactly what has been argued for some time. And he said that the song was inspired by Robert E. Lee when he said, "The eyes of Texas are upon you." Yeah. I mean, there's a legitimate argument there. There's a legitimate claim to that phrase. Now what? Everybody has a right to be heard. Everybody has a right to complain. I think on a college campus maybe more than anywhere else. I think somebody who wants to immediately say, shut up, go away, or shut up, you're right. I think shut up is the wrong answer. I think, though, sooner or later, instead of more committees, instead of more bans, instead of more fragments, you're going to have to meet this head on. Somebody is going to have to say, I heard you again. I heard your lawsuit. I heard the players. And by the way, I think it's a mistake. I do. We can disagree. I think it's a mistake for a football coach. First of all, any football coach pretending to be bigger than the school, any football coach, you're just the coach. That's the way it should be. Any football coach saying, listen, we're separate from the campus. I know they act like it. It's a mistake. I think it was a mistake from day one to say, no, you play here, you're going to sing the song. I think that's a mistake. The answer should be when the whistle blows, you play. I don't care if it offends me. I don't care if it offends you. I don't care if it offends the coach. It is a school. They're supposed to be students. So I think as usual, they've set themselves up for this fight not really having a resolution. I don't know when that resolution has to take place, but the longer it stays in the news, the more it just kind of spins in circles. Someone's going to have to own it. And maybe this lawsuit sort of closes the door on the whole thing. And I don't know what the public thinks is the right answer. I know most white people would say, shut up and deal with it. Okay. I think a lot of people would say, no, you shut up and deal with it. That we know what that phrase means. Or somebody steps in sooner or later. I don't know who that is and says, you know what? You're all right. We're going to scratch the phrase. Now, I know what the headlines will be. Woke UT. I don't know if that's a sufficient answer, but don't be shocked if that's not on the table.
From the Hot Pie Media Studios in Austin, Texas, it's the Jeff Ward Show. Listen at jeffwardshow.com.